Man, I just want to start this video off by saying I will not be playing Madden 20, period.
The official launch ratings for Madden 20 have been released, and that means that Madden 20 season is just around the corner. While all these NFL players are making headlines with their overreactions that they're not rated high enough.
60. Like, my deep route run is a 75. Like, bro, who's making this shit, dog? What? Who did this?
Most of us are just sitting here looking at the rookie ratings and thinking about which team is going to be the first one that we jump into a connected franchise with. The diehard Madden fans know that almost everybody took at least a slight ratings hit in this year's Madden in EA's attempt at widening the overall spread to make stars feel more like stars in the game, but the players, they're just not that woke. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 best teams to start a Madden connected franchise with, and then I'm going to finish with the 5 worst teams to start a Madden connected franchise with. But these are in no particular order other than those that came to mind when I first made this list after the draft, and then those that actually made the cut now that we can see the official Madden 20 ratings. Now obviously we're getting a big overhaul in gameplay this year finally. I mentioned the ratings gap being spread out, but the Superstar X Factor traits are the biggest things in the game that could really be a game changer. And any of the changes in CFM could alter this list slightly once we get our hands on the game. Those of you that play a lot of CFMs know that rookies are kind of a big deal in Madden. So teams with a good crop of rookies at key spots get the nod over teams with established veterans because the development side of things is what makes this mode so enjoyable, and one of the few things we've actually had added to Madden CFM recently was an upgraded / random-ish development system. So no longer will rookie quarterbacks with 89 throw power or rookie wide receivers with 89 speed be overlooked as replaceable players. If you guys are not in a 32-team CFM league yet, you are missing out on the best way to play this game. Despite all of its frustrating inconsistencies, this is the most competitive way that I've been able to play Madden on a regular basis. I'm actually in a league with the guy that runs Sports Gamers Online's YouTube account called Premier Madden League, and it's pretty intense. Humble brag, your boy beat SGO, aka The Natural, in the Super Bowl, by the way, the guy that has won 3 other Super Bowls so far in that league. Last year was actually the inaugural season, and this year we're looking to take things to another level. If you're interested in CFMs, I highly suggest joining the Madden Sim community. You can find these leagues on Reddit and Facebook groups. Join one of these leagues, try it out. There's free ones, there's ones where people put in like $5 a season, but EA keeps stats and they know that CFM players are the ones that are playing the game the most, the farthest into the year. We've got to show EA that this is the OG Madden mode, and this is where their time and energy needs to be spent moving forward, at least a little bit more than much. You can find out more about our league at premiermadden.com. I'll leave a link in the comments and the description too. And if you play mostly solo CFMs, make sure that you stay tuned until the end, because the teams that I have listed as the worst teams might actually be the best teams for you guys, because they're going to take years of overhaul to build them into contenders, and that's the best part about playing when you're playing by yourself, making these outrageous trades and seeing how fast you can really rebuild these teams. Now, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, it's probably because I don't do a ton of Madden videos here, but if Madden 20 is halfway decent, and it looks like it might actually be based on the beta experience and things we've seen from EA, I'll be sure to increase the Madden stuff here. But I do appreciate you checking out this video, and if you enjoy this and want to see more Madden videos from me, hit the like button before you go and subscribe to the channel. If Madden videos do well on this channel, I'll continue to pump them out. Oh, and that notification button, that's pretty cool too. Recently, YouTube showed us some actual stats around that number, so shout out to the 18% of you that actually hit it. Hashtag Noti Squad. I don't post videos a lot, so it's a good idea to enable that for this channel. Just saying. All right, let me hop off this soapbox and let's get into these teams. Like I said, we're going to start with the best teams, and the first team that I have, let's just get the obvious team out of the way. The Kansas City Chiefs, coming in at an 84 overall with an 88 rated offense and a 78 rated defense. The cover boy is always a fun CFM centerpiece to play with, but even more so this year with the new player boost from the abilities. Patrick Mahomes' bazooka trait is unique to only him, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to be the most overpowered quarterback in Madden since maybe the 07 Vic, but not because of his legs, because of that cannon of an arm, and his ability to throw no-look passes is is just a opportunity for Madden to make random highlight plays. But Mahomes aside, the offense has the building blocks to carry your passing attack early on while still leaving room to add players through free agency in the draft. Tyreek Hill is probably the first receiving threat that comes to mind, but then Travis Kelce is also the guy that has another superstar X Factor ability on this offense called Double Me, which means he wins aggressive catch balls in single coverage. This is going to be so cheesy and overpowered because you won't be able to use him after only 3 catches for 20 plus yards through the air, and then to knock him out of the zone, you'll probably have to cover him with a linebacker, and then right before the ball gets there, switch to a defensive back and rock him with the hit stick just to make sure that you're getting that double coverage in there. How do you cover Tyreek's 99 speed and then Travis Kelce across the middle with this Double Me X Factor ability? It's going to be pretty hard to stop. And then if you add a running back that's a little bit more dynamic than Damian Williams in this, it's going to be a fun team to play with. The defense is also then a blank canvas that you can shape to your liking over time. They've got solid defensive line pieces to build on, and Tyrann Mathieu will be good for a few crazy turnovers here and there, but there's not really much else coming out of the box here. Next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals. Coming in at 78 overall, this is actually one of the lower teams that I have rated as one of the best options, with a 73 rated offense, which is the 4th lowest, and an 80 rated defense. While the offense is rated the 4th lowest, that's mostly indicative of the offensive line and just the underdeveloped youth that's on this unit, because this could be a top offense in a season or two. Obviously, Kyler Murray is the best rookie quarterback to build around in Madden 20, not only because of his speed and agility, but because of the changes in the quarterback pocket mobility this year. I love stepping up in the pocket and getting that extra second to let a route develop, and it seems like that's going to be even more of a fluid action this year. And then with a short quarterback, you're going to need that open throwing lane, even with the new trajectory passing. The Cardinals have been on my radar as a CFM team since the draft because the draft class had some of my favorite rookies. Andy Isabella and Hakeem Butler are such a nice rookie duo to build around. You've got your speed and you've got your size, and then Christian Kirk is probably going to be a vicious weapon too. Sadly, Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Legend, he might need to see his lowest year in production ever as a pro, just so that you can get these rookies to maybe win some awards or make the Pro Bowl and earn that extra XP to develop them into future stars. But don't ignore the importance of a guy like Fitzgerald on crucial 3rd and long plays. He's going to be your most sure-handed target and is going to allow this offense to continue drives so that you can just put up unnecessary amounts of points with this team early on. David Johnson's also a Madden beast and should be the focal point of this offense until you get Kyler where you need him to be and you have the trust in him to make those tight window throws. And then his 89 throw power is something that you're going to have to develop over time. I would just go ahead and focus on the strong arm quarterback archetype so that you can go ahead and add a little extra throw power to that. Now, this defense has got some work to do, but that can easily be fixed with some good drafts and development of the guys that they've already got. The pass rush is old, the linebackers are not young, cornerbacks are old, the safeties are not that good. There's a lot of trade bait on this defense, and I would suggest moving it sooner rather than later. Up next, we've got the Washington Redskins coming in at an 83 overall with a 75 rated offense and an 80 overall rated defense. The second best rookie quarterback is one of the reasons the Redskins are finally an intriguing franchise team. But Montez Sweat is a defensive Madden unicorn that you've got to get your hands on. This whole team is actually a really good option for the defensive lovers. The defensive line is stacked with Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Ioannidis, and then Ryan Kerrigan should be rusting the passer on pretty much every play. Kerrigan has been such a good Madden player for so long. He's been good in real life too, but the Redskins sucking hasn't gotten him the attention that he really deserves. And if you don't want to cheese with Montez Sweat as your user middle linebacker, Reuben Foster gives you a solid user middle linebacker, which would allow Sweat and Kerrigan to be your edge rushers, and that's a terrifying duo, especially when you consider the rotation of the big guys plugging up the middle. Landon Collins' contract is kind of annoying, but you could get creative with him as a sub linebacker since you're stuck with him, and allow coverage guys to play exclusively on the back end. Brandon Scherff is also the only major player on this team that needs a new contract immediately. To complement that defense, the Redskins running game should provide plenty of options based on your style of play. Darius Geis would be the main guy, I think, for most people, but Bryce Love and Chris Thompson are better for the pass-happy offense, or you just use them as 3rd down backs to spell Darius Geis. And then Adrian Peterson, Samaje Perine, and Chris Thompson, they all offer great trade bait or depth if injuries are still as annoying as ever. And I haven't even mentioned rookie wide receivers Terry McLaurin, who's got really good speed, and Kelvin Harmon, who would allow you to move on from Josh Doctson if developed quickly. I'd start both of these guys from day one and see who you feel more comfortable with, and make them the focal point of the offense, or at least the passing game, to get that rookie Pro Bowl XP, while helping Dwayne Haskins actually win Offensive Rookie of the Year. The only thing missing from Haskins' game is the mobility to take advantage of the improved quarterback pocket presence, but don't try and tell Stephen A. Smith that he's not a running quarterback. Up next, we've got the Seattle Seahawks coming in at 81 overall with a nice balance of an 80 rated offense and an 80 rated defense. This is going to be the year of the RPO, so you better get a quarterback that can run it well. Russell Wilson has the superstar X-Factor ability Blitz Radar, which highlights extra blitzes after the ball is snapped. I'm not sure how good that's going to really be because you should be able to identify the blitz pretty quickly after the snap anyways. Maybe if it was before the snap, but after it seems more distracting really. Although it should help you with the RPOs because if they're not using that linebacker and you see him blitzing, you know to go ahead and switch to the pass on that play. Russell Wilson can also move around with the best of them, and I keep emphasizing how crucial that's going to be this year. This offensive line is trash too, so you'll need to be able to move around to avoid the pressure. Moving on to running back, I would say pick a guy and trade the other. Chris Carson is the better player overall, but you guys know that the 93 awareness is really just a trick, and the 2 extra speed and extra acceleration means that Rashad Penny could potentially be the better home run threat. If you're going to feature a run heavy offense, you could keep both, but Carson needs a new contract after the second season, and there's some young guys on the roster that could get the job done after Penny. Now you guys know I'm a huge DK Metcalf fan. If you haven't, go check out my scouting report on him, and whether or not you were a believer in him as a draft pick, there's no debate that he's about to be the next Calvin Johnson of Madden. Even better than Brashad Perriman when he was a rookie in Madden. But let's hope that DK's NFL career pans out a little bit better than Perriman's did. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Bobby Wagner is the best middle linebacker in the game and part of the 99 overall club, and even though they've nerfed the lurking ability from the linebacker position, Wagner should still be able to dominate, especially with the shutdown X-Factor ability, which is an ability that is really dominated by cornerbacks, but he and Luke Kuechly are the only shutdown linebackers in the game. Then Shaquem Griffin was ridiculous last year with the one-handed interceptions, so hopefully they fix that, but he's got the speed to keep up with wide receivers, so there's 2 really good coverage linebackers for the future. And then Michael Kendricks is still on this roster, so you really could stay in a 4-3 base defense and still be able to cover 3 wide receiver sets with the speed at linebacker. And then on top of that, rookie linebacker Ben Burr-Kirven has also decent speed for a linebacker. This defense is young and underdeveloped, but there's definitely some potential here for someone that knows how to corral all that speed. And you might need to because this pass rush here is not scaring anybody. And the last of the best teams are the Dallas Cowboys, coming in at 88 overall, which is the second highest in the game. The offense is rated 86, while the defense is also rated 86, which is the 4th highest rated defense in the game. I honestly don't even feel a little bit biased about this one. The Cowboys have young studs at key positions, starting with the main guy, Ezekiel Elliott. He's got the X-Factor ability called First One Free, so he's going to be really hard to stop over the course of 4 quarters, especially behind this offensive line. Rookie backup Tony Pollard is an intriguing player, and he offers a little bit more speed than Zeke, so he's going to be a nice change of pace running back. And Zeke seems to get hurt a lot in this game. I don't know if you guys have seen that too, but for a guy that never gets hurt in real life, he does seem to get injured a lot in Madden, so you're going to need a guy like Tony Pollard to spell him a little bit to avoid those injuries, or just to start for him altogether when he's out 5 weeks with some random injury. And then on the offensive line, while there's the big 3, Tyron, Travis, and Zach, Connor Williams offers some real athleticism and flexibility to play guard or tackle, while 3rd round pick Connor McGovern is going to be the potential replacement for La'el Collins if and whenever you feel comfortable pulling the trigger and moving on from him. Now, if you want some return on La'el, you can trade him in year 1, move Connor Williams to right tackle, and Connor McGovern starts at left guard. This is the plan I think that the Cowboys have in real life for these guys, and while it's usually better in Madden to start a guy as a rookie if possible, I just can't start a guy rated 64 overall on my offensive line when there's a 76 overall available. EA did him dirty with that 64 overall, and then 66 pass blocking and 69 run blocking rating. I mean, maybe I need to look a little bit deeper into it, but this doesn't look like a guy that can play at all, and it's not often that the 3rd round pick is just a complete bust like this right out of the box. The win now move with these guys is still to move Connor Williams to right tackle and La'el back to left guard, and then really you probably just want to go ahead and re-sign La'el since he won't be too expensive, and just keep this unit together until you win the Super Bowl, and then hope that McGovern develops behind those guys to give you depth at the interior offensive line spots, at least for the extent of his rookie contract. The difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles for this final spot here, who the Eagles are actually the highest rated team in the game, is going to be that Carson Wentz has already been locked up to a long-term deal, and Dak, as of right now, as of recording this video, has not. Now, that might not be the case when we get to the actual season, so you might want to start your Cowboys franchise early on, because that means you'll be able to negotiate with him in your CFM on a long-term contract that will be much more team-friendly deal than the one that he's going to get in real life. In Madden, I'm really not a fan of veteran quarterbacks that are on long-term, big-money deals. It's really hard to build early on when you're strapped for salary cap space. You could even franchise Dak and then see what you're working with in the draft. There's a lot more options than a guy that's already locked up for 5 to 7 years. In fact, the Cowboys actually have a lot of guys that are going to need new contracts early on, but they're young guys that you're going to want to keep, like Byron Jones, who's got the shutdown X-Factor ability, Jalen Smith, Zeke, Amari Cooper. But just like with Dak, you'll be able to lock these guys up long-term term early on and to much better deals than you'll probably see them get in real life. And then adding young guys to surround them through the draft will be easy by the time the rookies need new deals. These contracts you signed in years 1 and 2 will almost be over. So you'll be able to either trade these guys, move on from them, or cut them and sign them for a much cheaper deal and just eat the penalty. DeMarcus Lawrence has already been signed to a long-term deal, but he's your other X factor on defense. He's got unstoppable force, which always wins versus a single pass rusher when in the zone. Only problem with that is he needs 2 sacks to activate. This might bring back the user defensive lineman strategy here to get him maybe 2 sacks early on and get him into the zone and let him take over. But I'm always going to live and die by the user linebacker unless it's actually completely nerfed this year. Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, they need to switch positions, by the way. Vander Esch is a beastly middle linebacker and should provide Bobby Wagner results without that X factor ability due to his 89 agility and his 92 jump rating. And then Jalen Smith's actually a beast blitzing from the outside or the edge with his 73 finesse moves. I love having a defensive playbook with 3-4 and 4-3 looks with this Cowboys defense because guys like Jalen Smith, Randy Gregory, Tyrone Crawford, and even Taco Charlton offer you the flexibility to use the formation subs and have 2 different looks on defense to better match up with the opposition. The safety position on this defense leaves much to be desired, but you could consider moving Xavier Woods to strong safety and then Chidobe Awuzie to free safety. Awuzie has actually got the ideal stats for it and won't be as much of a liability in the running game as you might think with a cornerback because he's got 77 pursuit and 68 tackle, and that 68 tackle is not far off from Xavier Woods' 72 tackle, so really you're not missing a lot there. There's not a huge gap. That actually allows you to play Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis instead of one of them collecting dust on the bench. All right, that's going to do it for my best teams. Here's a couple honorable mentions. I really wanted to include these guys. I could have done a top 10 maybe of the best teams, and that's the Panthers, the Falcons, the Colts, the Browns, the Broncos. Obviously all these teams have got great offenses, or at least a rookie or a young quarterback to build on. I really like the Panthers. They've got a guy to start now and a guy to start later. The Falcons, they really need a backup quarterback or a quarterback of the future, but at least you'll be able to jump right into them and win right away, and then they've got tons of speed on defense. With the Colts, Andrew Luck can be kind of a frustrating quarterback to play with because you think that he's going to be better than he truly is in the game. You just got to make good reads still. He's not Superman. Like, you got to make smart choices still as a quarterback. Don't blame a quarterback on you making poor reads. And then the Browns, Baker Mayfield is going to be a really fun player to play with. The wide receivers and the running backs and the tight ends, that's just an awesome team to play with. And then the Broncos, they've got Drew Lock, who's going to have a cannon. And once again, just make good reads. He's got a cannon, but that doesn't mean he can make all the throws right out of the box. Like, you're going to have to develop him a little bit. But those are the teams that I also think would be a lot of fun to play with. Let's move on to the worst teams to start a franchise with, who also might be the best teams if you're playing by yourself. First up, we've got the Miami Dolphins, who at 74 overall are the lowest rated team in the game. They've also got the lowest rated offense at 69 and the lowest rated defense at 72, tied with the Giants. Now, like I said, depending on how you play your CFMs, this could be the best team. This is most certainly a challenge. You could literally gut this team besides a few players, and then they've also got nice throwback uniforms to be able to play in. Minkah Fitzpatrick and Raekwon McMillan are the players that you should use on defense depending on which position you like to play, but there's really not much there on that side of the ball besides Xavier Howard, and even he was shafted in his stats. But the offense is horrible. I liked Josh Rosen coming out of college, but I'm sure that he's going to be just absolute trash in this game and make inconsistent throws all the time. So good luck and Godspeed to anybody that wants to start a franchise with the Dolphins. Next up, we've got the Tennessee Titans, who are actually a higher rated team than anybody else on the worst list, and they are an 81 overall with a 78 rated offense with an 82 rated defense. And I actually like this Titans roster in real life, but with each year that Derrick Henry gets older, his Madden value decreases more and more. He was another Madden unicorn when he was a rookie, and running your offense through him should still be the main reason that you pick this team, but you just can't trust the quarterbacks. And I say quarterbacks because they got Mariota and Ryan Tannehill, but you cannot trust them to stay healthy in this game. And what's even worse is you can't expect them, or you can't trust them to not overthrow a wide open guy in the flat and then sail it right into a defensive back's hands. They're just that kind of guy in Madden. The defense does have a few nice pieces to develop, but other than that, this is a major rebuild that just can't compete in 32-man CFMs until the quarterback situation is resolved. Next up, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 78 overall with a 76 rated offense and a 74 rated defense. This is another rough quarterback situation here. Jameis Winston's another guy that's gotten harder to play with the further away from his rookie season he's gotten. He's one of those guys that has erratic passes just hardwired into his character build. The offensive line is still trash too, and there's no running backs with intriguing attributes to really build upon. OJ Howard and Mike Evans are the only real intriguing pieces here, while Devin White's the only defensive player I'd want to play with on this team. Next, we've got the Oakland Raiders at 80 overall with an 82 rated offense and a 74 rated defense. Now, if the Raiders Stadium in Vegas was in the game after one season, then this team would be one of the favorites to start a CFM with, because that's always fun when you get a new stadium, a real stadium built for you in the game. But Madden has really dropped the ball with future stadiums and CFMs. I think they did it with the Falcons' new stadium, but they just like never included it again. That's typical EA or Tiburon or whoever you want to blame it on. But while this roster saw a major overhaul this offseason, I'm afraid that even with 3 first-round picks, it still didn't make them a very Madden-friendly team. Antonio Brown has never been as dominant of a wide receiver in the game as his IRL counterpart, but maybe the rating spread will help that a little bit. He's still old AF and won't be around for long. Tyrell Williams actually has more long-term value than Antonio Brown does, and he's not costing you a ton of money on your salary cap. Derek Carr is one of those older, middle-of-the-pack quarterbacks on a big contract that I try to avoid, because unless you're a fan of the team and the player, you're going to want to replace him after one season of making bad reads. Now, let's take a look at those 3 first-rounders. Josh Jacobs, he's got 85 speed. 85 speed, and he's the 4th rated running back on the roster. He's still the best option to start from day one, but I know 90% of Madden players won't even touch a running back with 85 speed. Clelin Ferrell is a pretty nice player after all, and this defense as a whole would be fun to play with for about a year or two. It's got a lot of old heads on it that'll need to replace pretty quickly and just not enough youth to build on. And then Jonathan Abram, he's got decent speed for a safety, but are you starting him over Joyner or Joseph? Doubt it. And then finally, we've got the New York Football Giants coming in at 77 overall. I don't know how, because they've got a 75 rated offense and a 72 rated defense, which, remember, that was the lowest in the league, tied with the Dolphins. I know from my experience of the Giants, they're typically a hard team to find someone to play with in a 32 team league, especially for more than a couple seasons, and that was with Odell Beckham Jr. But with him gone and Daniel Jones being one of the worst rookie quarterbacks in this game, makes his team just a very undesirable option altogether. Now, there is Saquon Barkley, and he's got that first one free superstar X Factor ability like Ezekiel Elliott, and the offensive line should be a lot better. Evan Ingram's a fun tight end, and Sterling Shepard is good enough to start, but needs to be used by a disciplined quarterback that can wait for his slow ass to run his nice little routes. And like I said earlier, the Giants have the lowest rated defense in the game, and their best player on that side of the ball is a strong safety, Jabril Peppers, coming in at 84 overall. Now, if you're a safety user, then having a defense to build around a guy like Peppers might not be an awful idea, especially if you moved him to free safety, where most safety users seem to really roam. Dexter Lawrence is going to be a beast at defensive tackle, but defensive tackles don't make enough of an impact in Madden to really be the reason that you pick a team. Any impact from them just kind of feels like a bonus, you know? I'm avoiding teams like the Patriots, Saints, Packers, Chargers, mostly because the quarterbacks are old and you'll have to replace them, and I know a lot of guys tend to play a little recklessly when they have a highly rated quarterback thinking that they can make all the throws, although this year the guys with the special traits might actually be able to make all the throws when they're in the zone. But I'd rather start off with a young guy that's already in the game than to trust some of these CPU generated rookie quarterbacks. But thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and join my Discord. There is a Madden channel and it's just not nearly active enough, and I love talking Madden. Also, I've got a fantasy football club that I'm starting up this year. If you play fantasy football and you're interested in joining, we're gonna have money leagues, free leagues, dynasty leagues, keeper leagues, redraft leagues. That's also in the description below. You're gonna want to make sure that you're a part of the Discord to be part of that. Please go ahead and check out my Road to the Super Bowl series, and then vote in the comments for your team to be next on the list of teams that I do. It's so far been my more popular video or videos of this offseason. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff, and I will see you all in the next video.